Next scene, it shows Horace's partner tied up. Then Reese asks, I know you were hypnotized and you didn't want to kill us. Tell us, who is behind this? Who wants us dead? Then Beatrice says, we shouldn't trust anything she says, and she came to kill the princess. Then Princess replies, no, I don't think so. I saw it in her eyes. She didn't want to kill me. On the side, Noel listens quietly. Then Noel suddenly remembers. When she was young, she was adopted by her master. She approaches the tied girl and says, I will take care of her.
Leave her with me, and I want to adopt her. Hearing this, the girl is shocked. No one had ever done something like this for her. Then Noel says, I will keep her with me and teach her many things. But Beatrice tells her not to do that. But Noel says, don't worry, I'll take care of her. But if she misbehaves, I will punish her. Hearing this, Alan agrees and says, at last, it's over. Now, Alan goes back into the forest to practice with his sword. His attacks are immensely powerful. Meanwhile, Horace sits alone, thinking, I made a good escape from there. If I had stayed there any longer, I would probably have been killed. Then he sensed someone attacking him, so he jumped down to escape. Seeing this, he was shocked. Who attacked him? And how did the attack reach so far? Then we see a massive demon arrive and ask, oh, so you're the person. Then he kills that old man on the spot. Alan hears the attack and rushes there. He sees a severed head. It belongs to that old man. But now the demon reaches Alan's father, and Alan's brother says, you did good job to killing that old man. If we didn't do this, he would have revealed our entire plan. Now your next mission is to eliminate the princess and all her companions. Then we see Princess Reese's past. When she was a child, she was traveling with her uncle. Suddenly, monsters attacked their carriage. Her uncle Alfred fought them to save her. She watched everything. A monster attacked the carriage. Her uncle fought it, but the monster counterattacked, severely injuring him. In trying to kill the monster, her uncle fell into a river, and Reese lost him. Now, in the present, they arrive at a village. The villagers are happy and preparing something. Alan asks a man, what's happening today? The man says, we are preparing to summon the spirits of our ancestors. Alan asks, who does that? Beatrice finds it strange and becomes alert. The villagers explain, it's our festival. We dress ghostly and dance in front of fire. You can call it a Halloween festival. Reese asks, have you seen a silver-armored man here? She heard rumors he was seen here. Unfortunately, the villagers heard nothing. She thinks it might be a rumor. Then they spot a man whose body movements are strange. Alan notices and suspects something odd because they had asked Noel earlier about a general serial killer, but they had no clue. Beatrice says even a tiny clue could help. Noel recalls a regular customer telling her there's a ghost in a nearby village wearing silver armor with bloodstains. Mablet bears a grudge against the royal family, and it seems to appear only at night in the cemetery. Suddenly, Mylene drops something, and Beatrice screams, and it clearly see that she is terrified of ghosts. Reese clarifies she will investigate the village. Alan suspects a demon may be behind it. Only demons can resurrect the dead. Mylene and Reese scare Beatrice with ghost stories, and that's why they came to investigate. Then, they go to the cemetery. Beatrice is in full fight mode, and the strange man is following them. He leads them to the village head's house. It looks like a haunted house. Alan asks him, why were you at the cemetery? He says, I was just passing by. I saw you, so I came to help. They enter the house. The village head says he heard no ghost rumors, and Reese becomes saddened. He offers them to stay one night, as it's festival time, and they agree. That night, Reese once again dreams of her uncle Alfred. She was close to him and considered him like her father. Alfred came to tell her he would go away for a while, and she should trust her people. As much as she trusts them, she stays connected. Suddenly, Reese waits and goes to the window, seeing the silver-armored man. He looks just like Alfred. She follows him, reaching the cemetery. Suddenly, all the dead corpses rise and attack her. Alan wakes her from sleep. She was screaming. The next morning, the festival begins. The inhabitants dress as ghosts and gather. Alan says to Beatrice, you're a knight, you should stop this tradition. She replies, no one is being harmed, so we can't stop it. They sit and watch the dancing. The strange man approaches and says, don't just sit, enjoy the festival. Go dance. Risa says she wants to rest. The others go dance. Suddenly, Risa hears her uncle's voice and follows it into the forest, reaching him. Alfred stands before her and says the forest at night is dangerous. Shocked, Risa asks, Uncle, where have you been? We searched everywhere, and we never found your body. Alfred reveals he wanted revenge on the royal family, so he hid. He says the king and brother wanted her dead, because any child with an inborn gift is a threat. They feared she could destroy the kingdom. Alfred says he wants to save her, and asks her to join his side. Rhys hesitates. If she approached her father, a session could be convened. She recalls Alfred telling her to trust her people. Hearing this, he attacks her. Alan arrives and saves her. Alfred recognizes him as the same useless boy and princess fiancé. Alan doesn't react. He uses his power to free Alfred from someone controlling him. Rhys doesn't understand what Alan did. Alfred explains. He was already dead, and those behind the attempt to kill Rhys were actually demons. He reveals that he was second-born, so his elder brother was made king, and most of them tried to create a misunderstanding between us. So I decided to become a knight. I could earn his name. Now his time is short, and he asks Alan two things. First, to protect Rhys. Second, to fight him so he can test Alan's power. And at last, Alan wins the fight. Alfred is relieved and tells Rhys she has to be sad, and she must find her own happiness. Alan goes to meet the village chief. From the moment he arrived, he knew all villagers were dead already, and the village chief controls them. He is a demon. Maybe not inherently. The demon says to Alan, "Your thinking is so simple." Then he summons his undead to attack Alan, hoping to recruit him into his army. But Alan frees all the undead from his control, then kills the demon. From the demon's body, he obtains a stone. The demon then appears to Alan's father and says they have failed again. But his father remains said, "Our plan will not change because we now have Archbishop's head." And we see they return to Noel's village. Alan tries to examine the stone and realizes the energy inside is Brett's, that is, his brother's. They understand that Uncle's body's head was part of his own body, and the general's head was missing, except his body. Alan senses there is a connection in between. Then Princess Rhys receives a message that General Cyril has returned. But how can someone return who is already dead? We then see Alan's past. His younger brother Brett always teased him, and he felt Alan always looked down on him. Others treated him poorly, and he can't do anything properly. He was known as a failure. One day, Brett met his father Crage, who promised him to avenge the gods and a kingdom. Brett began supporting his father's plan and believing only he can rule. In the present, news spreads across the kingdom. General Cyril has returned. People ask, if he is already dead, how did he return then? Captain Edward hears all this. His assistant asks, "Do you think General Cyril has returned, or is this a rumor?" Edward says they don't need to overthink. They are premium knights, and their main task is to stop those who threaten the kingdom. If General Cyril had truly returned, he would act likewise, and they should follow his example. Later, they walk into a deserted street, and where they encounter with a strange old man. Clark fears he might attack, but Edward stops him, because the man is an archbishop. Then the old man said he wants to speak in private. Edward agrees, though Clark is feeling uneasy. But Edward says they must remain focused, and assures him he won't wander. Then the archbishop leads him into a ruined mansion. Edward asks, "Why did you bring me here?" Then the archbishop departs, and says, "That was all I could do." Suddenly, Crage attacks Edward from behind. But Edward is highly skilled, and he easily blots the attack. And Edward already knew Crage, and they last met at Crage's wife's funeral. Then Edward asks, "What brings you here?" Crage replies, "The archbishop is already under my control." Then, immediately, he attacks again at Edward. Edward realizes Crage has done something serious. Then, Crage recalls his wife's death and says, she didn't belong to this world anymore. And Brett then remembers the time he saw his mother dead. He was very young and didn't understand that why she was sleeping. Alan told him his mother is died because Brett was deemed a failure. He lost his mother too. Then Brett asks Alan, "What is a failure?" Alan tells him not to worry, and people make careless comments. But Brett ignores him because even their father considered Brett as a failure. And after that, Brett's status then surpassed Alan, and he began seeing Alan as the failure. But one day, Brett asked Alan, "Doesn't it upset you when they call you a failure?" But Alan remained unaffected by others' words. In the present, a man approaches and reports him, "Our plan is unfolding exactly as we intended." "Brett, what about your side of the plan?" Brett replies, "We've taken control of the archbishop and used him to deceive Edward. But Edward's gift is becoming problematic. He has the power that he can cancel anyone's power." Brett reassures, "Don't worry, my father will handle him. If he fails, I will use my ability to control him myself. Then another person arrives and says, the hero has returned, and we should begin our plan. The first man says, I am helping with your plan, but there must be no mistakes. Meanwhile, Akira has arrived with the little girl and considers staying here. But she senses someone watching them. She takes the girl to a secluded area and summons the others, because she knew they were following her. They intend to kill Akira, a hero, because even together, they cannot defeat her. They cast a spell that threatens the girl's life. The demon explains, everyone from the girl's village has a magic mark on their bodies, using their life to form a living bomb. If fire touches the girl, she will explode. But Akira decides not to abandon the girl, and the demons attack. Scene cuts to Clark. A mysterious man appears in front of him. Clark stops his soldiers. He senses this man is powerful. The man says, I didn't come to harm you. I'm here to reveal the world's reality. Then we see General Serial and the bishop, both controlled by Brett. The archbishop declares, God lied to us. The powers given to humans were never gifts. Serial begins explaining, suppose you wanted to be something else, but God's gift prevented it. So it's not a gift. You've become a puppet of God. You are forced to do things you were never meant to. The archbishop continues, there is a way to escape God's control, but the public believed those gifts were powerful abilities that helped save the kingdom. To clear public doubts, General Serial calls Brett forward. Using his power, Brett summons a monster. General Serial tells everyone, this monster has the strength of 10,000 soldiers. The crowd doubts, you can't just exchange your power like that. Brett says, yes you can. Use my special ability, Marionette.
The monster's ability can extract others' abilities, very different from their gifts. Everyone agrees, but they worry. If Brett dies, what then?
Brett responds, nothing, because we now have demons on our side. The crowd is shocked. Brett calms them. Don't worry, demons are with us. They revealed these abilities to us. Work with demons and choose your life. Free yourself from gifts. Meanwhile, Crage is overpowering Edward. Edward realizes Crage is not using his gift, but his actual level power. Crage explains, level is more powerful than gift. As your level grows, your soul strengthens. You can become supreme existence, i.e. God. We see Clark listening. This man is telling him the same things Brett did. Clark protests, we are knights. Our duty is to protect the kingdom. The powerful man begins killing them, one by one. But Beatrice arrives just then. Crage had nearly defeated Edward and was about to kill him. Akira arrives and saves him.
When the demons attacked Akira with fire,
A shield appeared, etched into Akira's sword, to protect her.
Brett believed his plan was working.
Until Alan arrives. Alan pulls a hologram device from his pocket, displaying Beatrice, and shows it publicly so people can hear her account.
Beatrice stands before the demon and accuses,
You conspired with Duke Westphal to kill the general, and now you hunt the princess. What is your intention? Meanwhile, Mylene uses her invisible magic to livestream this. Before killing her, the demon begins confessing. Their target are those born with gifts, like the general and the princess, because they could become threats. They decided to manipulate minds, so humans would abandon their gifts willingly. For Alan, this was enough to expose Brett's plan. Brett interrupts. You didn't need to disrupt my plan. The princess tells everyone. The monster Brett summoned was the same sent to kill me. Brett's plan collapses, and he blames Alan. Brett attempts to use magic to control people, but Alan breaks his spell. Brett becomes furious and summons more monsters. People scatter. The princess instructs, go to a safe area. Alan blames himself. He should have paid attention to Brett, but he had warned Brett that if he chose a wrong path, Alan would stop him. The moment had come. Brett attacks Alan, but Alan catches his strings and knocks him out with a single punch. With Brett neutralized, everything comes under control. Alan tells Liz, you must maintain order here. I have to stop my father. Liz is deeply worried too. This situation could hurt Alan's feeling. Alan recalls his father expelled him, but reassures, don't worry, that won't happen. Beatrice fights a demon, but it can't harm her because she is invisible, and the demon realized she used Mylene's power. It can't stand before her, so it flees. Then Mylene throws a dagger at it. Beatrice seizes the opportunity and kills the demon. Clark approaches Beatrice to thank her for helping, but she says, no time to talk. Demons are about to attack. You must help me. Noel arrives with many weapons, but the true mastermind of this plan was radiating an extraordinary power. Edward and Akira join to try defeating him, but they fail. Edward tells Akira that Crage possesses an ability to see the future. but that kind of power requires tremendous concentration, and he cannot use it in the midst of this fight. Edward says to Crage, "Your wife would never have wanted you to take this path." Crage replies, "I foresaw her death. As soon as I knew, I tried everything to save her, but nothing worked." To him, it felt like the gods and their so-called gifts had failed. His wife's special power, known as the Holy Grey or Sacred Mother, led people to believe her child would be a hero, but she gave birth to Alan, whom they called a failure.
In his rage, Crage decides the world must be rid of all gifts, and even exchanges his life force to become powerful. Akira attacks him with lightning power. At one time, their powers were at exactly the same level, but shortly after, Crage overpowers her. Only Edward remains. And realizing Crage's power source comes from demons, he warns, "If you don't stop, you'll be killed here too." But Crage strikes Edward. Edward feels darkness consuming him. He tries to reason with Crage, but Crage will not listen and kills him. Then he turns on Akira. Just as he is about to strike her, Alan arrives and saves her. Crage laughs. "My useless son comes to stop me." He attacks Alan, but Alan blocks easily. Crage asks, "Who are you really?" Alan replies, "You already know. I am a failure. Yet I will never abandon my people. My mother wouldn't have wanted this either." Crage grows even angrier, warning Alan, "Never speak the name Mariel." He strikes again. Alan senses Crage's anger, hatred, but also his sorrow and deep love for his wife. Alan knows vulnerabilities can break people, but he had resolved not to get involved. Still, others depend on him, and he steps in to protect them. Alan unleashes full power, but it fails to affect Crage. Crage's power is destroying even himself. In a final surge, Crage releases all his power at once to annihilate everything. Alan enters the magic-created vortex. He locates Crage's magic core and destroys him, halting the destruction. Crage returns briefly before dissolving into ash. He whispers, "I fulfilled what was destined. Even in death, I remember my wife." Shortly after, Alan meets the king. Having saved the capital, he is offered the title of Duke, but he declines. Knowing Alan would refuse, the king expected it. Princess Reese had told him much. Alan plans to return to Greenhole. Reese arrives, and because Alan declined the title, she accepts it instead. Now, all territories of the Westfeld family fall under Reese's stewardship. Noel asks, "What about Beatrice?" Reese explains that Beatrice was the royal bodyguard, but now that Reese is no longer part of the royal family, Beatrice resigns. Still, Reese is not worried. She knows Beatrice will find a way to stay by her side. Reese departs for the West Wealth territory.